what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. You are not going, there's going to be nothing this weekend that is going to make you feel better. Really, this is one of the, like in the macro, right? Like this is one of those games that can only make people feel worse. If you go out there and you have one of those kind of games that we used to have in the Miles era where you kind of struggle to put one of these bad teams away and everybody get all up in arms and all angry. And so as a whole, Tiger Nation will not be satisfied, right? But we are a sports show. We get granular. We talk about this team in every instance. We break down a game for hours, a single game. So I guess the point is we can engage with like what kind of incremental improvements you want to see. And let's have the discussion. What do you want to see against Nicholls tomorrow? Because we haven't talked about it much. And for me, it starts with this. I've heard a lot of people talking to me, Jake, about getting away from the run. And a lot of talk of Les Miles offense and et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that's the case. I mean, look, two things. First off,
threw the ball over 30 times.
I was going to say, first off, I never felt like the play calling was conservative. I felt like it lacked execution at times. I didn't love the 3rd and 1 call. If we wanted to like highlight a actual call that I didn't like, but otherwise, I like Joe Sloan's. I like the game that he called. I didn't always love how it was executed. Obviously, the red zone, you got to finish some of these very good drives that you put together, so very clear areas of improvement. But this idea of getting away from the run, I don't agree with. And I feel, though, like it's kind of my fault because I've sat up here and called LSU average run blockers. And I still think that's true. But I think, Jake, I actually think USC had a pretty good front seven. And I don't think many of the front sevens that you will face this year will be much better, and many won't be as good, right? And I think you'll only get better at run blocking with more time on task and continuing to do so. And I think you have to. And I think it has to be a part of this game. So, like, no, I don't want to see LSU get away from the run. I want to see them have a lot of success on the ground. I need one of these running backs to start to gain some confidence now that John Emery is out. So if you have listened to me this week and I have made you think that LSU is just crap at running the ball, I don't think that. I'm just disappointed, again, because my expectations were higher. It goes back to that exact thing we were just talking about, right? Like in a vacuum, their rushing stats, pretty good, right? But I had the expectation that they would be mauling, that they would be like kind of dominant.
They beat USC in every rushing category.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But we did expect dominance because it was your best unit and because you were doing some things that were different from a year ago. And also, like, those things are new to them in a game situation.
Yes.
And so continue to work on those things. I think you continue it because you're going to need it to win games down the road. You have to get the running backs reps as well in game situations. And these tight ends need to get reps in this situation. Like, Pimpton needs to get reps. Green needs to get reps in the run game. Again, I know that a lot of people, if you didn't watch the tape and if you just kind of box score watch and you just go off the narrative of the game, you only want to blame the offensive line. Do they need to block better? Yes. But T, you and I both did a deep dive into the film. They do. The tight ends need to get a lot better, not just a little better. The running backs need to get a lot better in reading their keys and different things. And so those are things that you need to continue to work on because you're going to have, if you want to beat Ole Miss or Alabama or A&M or Oklahoma, any of those teams, you're going to have to run the ball successfully.
I agree 1,000%. So I apologize if I led you to believe that LSU just sucks at that facet of the game or shouldn't do it or shouldn't try to continue to get better at it, because that is not what I feel. I want to see Garrett Nussmeier build some confidence too, man, because it's got to be a tough place for Nuss to be mentally right now, because he was so sharp, so good, so dominant. I mean, he ended up on a lot of top 5 lists for people throughout the country in terms of the best quarterback performances over the weekend. He only had like 2 throws, really. I would say his biggest mistakes were the 2nd and 8 throw, and then maybe not pulling the ball on like 3rd and 3 in the first drive where he could have pulled it and just dumped it to Mason Taylor for like a probably 30-yard gain. But like, again, that's a hell of a first start against what I thought was a very well-coached defense with D'Anton Lynn and USC fielded. You have to give credit there. And so I want to see Nuss be able to be a little dangerous, air it out a little bit, connect on a couple deep balls, and he too just get some positive momentum and some kind of fun on-field success to build off of.
I think he can certainly gain stuff as well, but I mean, he probably feels pretty good about where he's at as a player. Like, he's going to want to strive to continue to get better, but as a quarterback, he's going to watch that tape and feel like he played a pretty good game, and he's going to, also crush himself because that's the way quarterbacks are made about those 2 plays.
Yeah.
He's going to want to be perfect. But there's certainly still things that he can continue, and I'm sure like he can take more chances knowing that what the game situation is. Like against USC, it's like, okay, can I take a chance? This feels like one chance one way or the other is going to decide this game. It's not going to be the case this weekend.
Yeah, that is one interesting thing. He had some really good throws into tight windows, but he didn't quite. I mean, well, not entirely fair because the touchdown, the fade that the foot's barely out of bounds, and you had the touchdown catch where he definitely did this. But like at the end of the game, Miller Moss was attacking guys and letting his receivers prove him right. Nuss was more finding the open man, which is still a great read, right? But I think if we just look at when you're already playing well, what are still areas that we can look for maybe some growth? It would be attacking some of those one-on-ones, those tight windows, maybe with those receivers when you have to have a big play and trusting them to make a big play. What do y'all want to see tomorrow?
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the offense, and so we kind of know what we need to see. Not want to see. You need to see in this game tomorrow night. Like defensively, I think I would like to see the defensive backs gain some more confidence. I think the corners were there a lot of times to make the play. Going back to the tape, I thought the corners were in position to make plays. Young players, let's see if you can go make them. USC's receivers went and made them, and you didn't. That was the story of the game, but you were there. The safety position, I think that has to go way up. Yeah. I think that is a position that I don't care who the opponent is, you've got to show that you can be in position, that you can make whatever game-changing play that it might be, that you can change the direction, that if you're beat, you can still recover, like all of those things, because we didn't see that from that position group.
Nah, man, I still think we got to get Sage Ryan to safety. In and out of corner. I mean, if there was a corner who looked like he was kind of just straight up beat more often than not, it was probably Sage. And without that safety group struggled, like he would be one of the better coverage safety. It just feels like that in an ideal world that almost has to happen. I want to see the linebacker group play more like Weeks did. Yeah, I want to see Penn and Perkins play with some heavy hands, deliver some pop. I want to see when Perkins is rushing him being more decisive. Too many times he'd kind of get to the line and just tail off or start looking over. I want to see him look like a bat out of hell with his hair on fire. Just again, being decisive is the word that I keep coming back to.
I wholeheartedly want to see that because it was with bad intentions. Yeah. And that's how USC's front seven played.
Yeah.
And that was the advantage for them. And you turn on the film for LSU, and 40 was the only one playing on his front foot.
Yeah. It was a little too much reading still. Maybe, bad habits hard to break. And I know that's not Baker's style. Baker's entire style is aggressive, create havoc, dictate to the offense. And so, I would like to see everybody else play in the vein of a Weeks or Savion Jones, who also played with his hair on fire all night long. And even guys that, are maybe like somewhat limited talent-wise that I would say Gio Paez played about as hard as he could as well. So these are just a couple of things that I think, like, again, there are going to be some people that are going to look at tomorrow's game and it's going to be a non-starter and they're not going to care about it either way, right? But I love college football. This time only comes once a year, and I cover this team so in depth that I do find tomorrow still to be very interesting, even if it's not quite as fun, because I don't feel like, I don't feel any anxiety over it. I don't feel like a pit in my stomach that reminds you that you're alive. But like, it's very analytical. I'm excited to see where the small improvements take place tomorrow.
Like next time out, you're going to be on the road in the SEC.
Yeah.
So
exactly, right? So
those things
what do we
out.
need to see to get you ready for that trip? Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.